Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 20 Minute Moat. I've got a very special guest with me today. I've got Arman Sood, who is the co-founder of, I think, India's one. I mean, it's a very much loved coffee brand right now in India, Sleepy Owl. So it's a very exciting conversation that I think we're going to have. So welcome, Arman, once again.
Thank you so much. Very excited to be here.
Yeah. So, I could give you an introduction, but let's it would be great, if you could tell us about your role at Sleepy Owl, and a little bit about what your vision is when it's a brand that everyone knows is known for creating some very delightful and interesting customer experiences. So, if you could just take us through that, it'd be lovely.
Perfect. So Sleepy Owl started in 2016. So it's on to the 6th year of our journey now, right? And for people who, do not know, Sleepy Owl started as a cold brew coffee company, and we were the pioneers in creating a very innovative and very differentiated product at the very get-go of our journey. And very early on, we realized that our mission is to create extremely convenient and innovative coffee products that are affordable and delicious for Indian consumers, and get as many people, onto the coffee journey, right? India is a tea drinking nation, and our mission has been to get people to, for them to make coffee as the first choice of beverage, right? And no doubt, of course, you have to have a great product for that. But I think as a brand that is now, well known and loved, it's very important to make sure that you're giving delightful experiences to customers, right? And that happens, from the moment someone hears about you from a friend to your interaction directly with the brand to receiving the product. I think at every step of the journey, there has to be delight that has to be created, right? And we've been very focused on doing that, right? So I personally look at operations at Sleepy Owl, and with operations comes customer support and customer delight, and those are areas that I have focused on over the last few years, and I believe we're trying to do our very best. I think in during customer delight, obviously, every day is not rosy, right? And you have to work with all kinds of situations and cases, and I think the end goal is to leave people you interact with good fond memories of their interaction, right? So that's ideally what we try and strive for.
Yeah, I think philosophy-wise, that's brilliant to hear it. What's interesting is I think Sleepy Owl has been one of those brands that has made fine coffee accessible for everyday users. You don't need to know temperature, and you don't need to know it's by the gram, or it's very intimidating for a lot of people. When they're moving from, say, an instant coffee kind of a setting to real coffee. So I think that's a phenomenal thing that you achieved.
Yeah, we actually realized very early on that one of the reasons why a lot of young Indians are either not drinking coffee or sticking only to instant coffee is because of the intimidation that surrounds brewing of coffee, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was the problem that we sort of identified, and everything that we've done is to tackle that very problem, that it does not have to be intimidating. It has to be very, very simple, not just in the process of making it, but even in the process of discovering it, right? In the process of coming onto our website to buy coffee, it has to be simple and intuitive and easy, right? So that's sort of exactly the problem that you mentioned is what we have been on the trying to solve for.
Yeah, this is something I wanted to ask you. Coffee and community is like synonymous. Coffee builds a sense of community with people. Now, you're an online retailer. It's a online experience that users have, customers have. How do you bring that sense of community to your customer base? When they think of coffee that I need, how do you bring them to Sleepy Owl?
Okay. So, as you mentioned, yes, we are an online first player, right? And for us, direct to consumer has been the sort of channel that we've leveraged and used to grow our brand, right? We don't have a single cafe space, and I think cafes allow you to build communities slightly more easy than if you're strictly online, right? But for us, it has been a mix of trying to get a certain amount of offline into the play of things, right? Whether it's events, whether it's office tastings, whether it's food fests, etc. We always make sure that as far as possible, try to create a little bit of a physical feel touch to our products as well, right? So uh, other than online, we are available in modern trade and general trade stores. We are available at hotels, restaurants, cafes, offices. So there's a lot of institutional play as well, right? So customers that interact with our brand don't interact strictly digitally, right? So that's one side of it. The other side of it is that we've I think truly tried to leverage our social media to create the right kind of engagement and the right kind of conversation, right? So while you may not necessarily have like physical interactions or getting together of people to form a community, I think all the varied customers who are interacting with KPL feel the same thing, feel the same experience, right?
Yeah.
And I think that feeling is mutual across our customer base, right? And that creates a sense of community, because I think what happens is, and something we realized early on, is coffee is one of those things that you will probably talk about more with your near and dear ones as to what you're drinking, what you're having, versus let's say a shampoo or a soap, right? I mean, I genuinely believe that people like sharing or talking about the beverages that they consume, right? So we've always made sure that you have to create that delightful experience so that when shared, it's shared with positive notes and a positive connotation, right? And I think we managed to also create what I would call evangelists, right? Where people swear by the product and the brand and their experience, right? And then that creates a sort of slightly stronger community because people who are interacting with the brand are interacting with us because they've heard it from someone near India, right? And then that forms those bonds of community among users.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting. And, coming to, say, from an organization's point of view, coming to customer support, what is it like at Sleepy Owl? Like, what is the customer support team up to, and, how do they function?
Okay. So, I think as a company over the last few years, we've grown steadily, but when we started out, customer support was, essentially looked at by me directly for over 2 years, right? So what that has created, so in the last 5 years, 2 years there was one customer support person, and that was me, right? So that kind of has created this, situation where I've led from the front for a very long time, right? And therefore, still try and continue to do so. So the support team that way has, the values and the understanding is very much of what we set in the beginning, right? So the tone that we wanted to create, or the culture we wanted to create with respect to how we work with customers, right? For the longest time, on our packaging and on our website, and even today, if you were to go Google, Sleepy Owl customer care, my direct line, my direct number is what is listed, right? So you will end up, reaching me and having to speak to me, right? So I think that allows for me to set the tone for how the experience is for the customer, right? The support team, for us, Jude, it's been you have to understand that it's not only about solving the problem that the customers come with, right, but trying to figure out a way to go above and beyond, right? So it's always like I said, you have to leave that customer with a feeling or a notion that the brand has gone above and beyond to cater to my needs and queries, and we don't shy away from doing that, right? So usually it's a no questions asked, return and refund policy. If there's a bad experience, there's if customers have requests, we do our best to accommodate those special requests in every way possible. So it's almost you never hear a no. You'll always hear a we can try, we will figure it out, we will do our best. So that's the sort of attitude that we try and maintain.
I think that's also the reason why the brand has so much trust. Despite being relatively speaking, it's still a young brand. And at least personally from experience and whoever I've spoken to, there is a kind of a steady fan following for Sleepy Owl. So this is part of the reason why.
No, I think you use a very important word, trust, right? Now, at the end of the day, like I feel this is what's going to be a big differentiator between us and our competitors, or between brands in the market, is when you have consumers who can trust you, consumers who know that there is the brand is there to support you and be there for you, right? And I can just give you an example of a case yesterday where, due to a technical glitch, we had a few COD orders, a few prepaid orders go out as COD orders, right?
Okay.
And when the delivery boy reached the customer's doorstep, the customer ended up Googling and they reached me directly, right? And all I had to tell them was, listen, we'll fix the glitch, but for now, pay the COD, which means you're paying twice, right?
Yeah.
And just drop in a quick hello, and we'll ensure that your amount that you paid earlier is refunded back to you, right? And I think we had about 5 cases, and in 4 out of 5 cases, the customer said, sure, we'll pay the extra because we trust that you will refund it. And that comes because, at least, I'm sure had it been anybody else on the other end of the line instead of me, maybe there would have been the same trust. But because I tell them that, listen, I'm the founder and this is my direct number, and, you can reach out to me. Do not worry. They say, yes, okay, no worries, we trust you, And I think that creates that aura of, okay, trust, which is very crucial.
An experience like this is what turns a customer from just a customer to an evangelist.
Absolutely.
This is a very, if this happened to me, I'm sure I would say, next time I meet a bunch of friends of mine, I'd be like, what happened? Something very interesting happened.
Yeah, you have to create stories that are share-worthy, that memories that stay with customers, right? So I think that's very important.
Yeah. In the past 2 years, you've grown as a brand. How has customer support sort of poked to this? Like on the one hand, a lot of brands prefer highly personalized forms of interacting and curating every experience that they offer. But sometimes it becomes at odds with scalability, right? So how have you been able to solve that?
Okay, so I think we've grown slow and steady, right? And we from the beginning and even now at the scale we're at, we still believe that doing things that don't scale is important, right? So whether it's handwritten notes, whether it's customization, we do that, and we know that maybe this can't be done at a certain scale, and maybe it's not even going to happen at the scale we're at today. But like I said, going out of your way, doing those things is important. And the support team is also trained to do the same thing, right? So we don't only, let's say, rely on what we call inbound queries or inbound support, right? कि inbound कुछ आता है तो उसको respond करो or deal with it, right? There's a lot of activities that we do outbound as well, right? Where we try and reach out to customers before they have to reach out to us, right? So whether that's for feedback, whether that's for just getting an idea or a sense of their habits and what they do in terms of consuming our products or other products, we like talking to our customers, right? And that starts, all the way from the top, where almost everyone in our team has, regular conversations with people who bought from us. And we treat this as research, feedback, learning, development, and that's what keeps the team busy, right? So I think, the rule is simple, right? Like if your presentation and your marketing and your activities are 100 and your operations are 100% perfect, there's no reason for anyone to inquire or have queries, and therefore support is redundant, right? Like there is no need to support anything. So on days when things go good and the support team doesn't have as many queries, we focus a lot on the outbound side of things, right? And that's how we ensure that we are touching base with our customers.
So it's a lot more proactive in that sense.
Absolutely, not reactive, proactive. I think that's the right.
I think the way customer support is evolving, two things have stood out. One is being proactive, and the other is empowering your customers for self-service options. If they can, if they have the information, 9 out of 10 times they can solve a lot of things for themselves before escalating it and all of that. I also wanted to know, since we're talking about customer support at Sleepy Owl, are there certain metrics that you keep a very close watch on to sort of reflect what customer sentiment is like?
Definitely. So we obviously, on our Shopify, we have a review app, right? And we get, we send out review emails to people to encourage them to leave reviews on the website, right? And we keep a very close track of those reviews. So that's one very important metric that we look at and we track and solve for, right? Of course, I think quarterly there is an NPS score that comes out in terms of how customers are enjoying or experiencing the product, right? Where we find one thing very important is resolution time as well, right? I think customers do not, especially if you come with a grievance or an issue, you want it to be dealt with and responded to in a quick and efficient manner, right? And that's something we really closely track as well. And the team always says, right, like positive review is something you should ignore, and negative review is what you should focus on, right? But for me, it's still something where I say, no, both are important, right? Like a positive experience allows you to give yourself a pat on the back, right? As well as learn that, okay, what made it positive and what is the standard where someone's enjoying your product. And then, of course, negative, no doubt, it cannot be ignored. It has to be worked on, improved, right? So yeah, those are the key things that we track. We're not, of course, I think one metric that is not support specific, but it's retention numbers, right? So, but it's connected because if you have good retention numbers, it's a function of the whole piece, right? From ops to support being streamlined, and that's why people are coming back to you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
That sort of answers the question quite, specifically. For example, for a brand that is now growing, and you've seen this trajectory, and from where you are today, it's working quite well. What should a brand look for? Say, for example, if they're building their support team, what should those fundamental principles be? Like, if you were to give pointers, these two or three things.
I'd say, definitely, I think with the way technology is evolving, right? Like it's great to have human touch. So definitely have a human at the end of the line, whoever that may be, right? Well-trained people who can communicate and give that feeling of personalization. But at the same time, you have to allow yourself to leverage the right technology that's out there, right? So whether it's, conversations with bots, whether it's, AI ML driven conversations, whether it's auto responders, auto replies, that are done, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a fine balance between both. You cannot, I don't believe personally that, being 100%, of course, self-service is great. And like, I think you can create an ecosystem where people would like to serve themselves, but I think India is still not there, right? I look at my personal behavior as well. Like sometimes, you get onto you call a customer support number, and I wait for what they can connect me to a human agent,
Yeah.
I wait for that number. I don't want to do anything. I just want to speak to someone, right? And I feel like that's the easiest way for me to offload the challenge that I'm facing. So I feel like that will continue to exist, and that's why I say that's be a balance, right? In both the human side and technology side of things.
Yeah, I think it's a very dangerous conversation if you say that, one should replace the other. It's very counterintuitive at the end of the day, because I think we've all experienced the IVR phenomena where people know what hoops to jump through to get to the human agent. You know what numbers you press, you can get to the person. Going going forward, what do you think? Do you think automation is a part? I mean, it is a reality.
Of course, 100%.
Yeah.
Automation is a reality. It is already happening, and that's why I see we use certain apps and certain products, right? Technology products to make the human agent's life easier, right? Because you will be able to realize that there are common cases or specific things that customers reach out for, right? And in a lot of cases, there are faster and swifter ways to trigger the message to the customer, right? So that's definitely something that we automate, right? We don't get people to actually draft complete emails, or you don't even need to copy paste an email. You can do it using technology in much faster, much more efficient ways, right? And that's what we do for. But at the end of this, right, there is still a human agent making sure that I feel like technology will still be monitored by human agents, right? सब सही हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, and are there challenges or not, right? So there will always be a human agent at the end of this, whether it's to make the technology work or to replace as and when needed, right? On a case by case basis.
I think with the conversational AI and automation, becoming a lot more sophisticated, they're going to complement each other, human agents, and because this allows human agents to take up priority cases, organize their time a lot better, and not get bogged down by repetitive queries and repetitive tasks. So I mean, I think that's the kind of change we are seeing, and like we're all riding the waves right now. Going forward, like, are there particular tech trends that you keep a tab on that can sort of impact customer experience like positively in the next 2 years?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say a year ago we weren't using WhatsApp, right, as a tool. as much for support, but like the moment it did become, popular or started getting people were solving for that, right? We were first to jump on it and said, listen, like, ready to use it, ready to figure out how it could work. And similarly, as and when things are getting popular, we are jumping on those wagons as well to see how it can apply to our business and how it makes our overall life easier, right? But no specific tech trends that in support that uh, I'm specifically tracking or looking
Okay.
at. I think we're just going with the flow and trying to keep life simple and delightful for both ourselves and our customers.
Yeah, I think in creating delightful experiences, the brand is like, I mean, you need to take notes from brands like Sleepy Owl. But
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's again one of the other things that we try and do is we're not just selling a product, we're selling an experience, and then we invest in spaces like packaging, and we invest in the presentation of the delivery, right? We do subtle things like we move to completely sustainable packaging for our D2C operations, from paper tape to things. So those are subtle things. We don't need to talk about those, right? But we know that those who care will see it and they'll notice it, and it will add to the overall experience.
So I think, if we are going to speak, I can go on and on, but I won't take any more of your time. It's been an absolute delight, Arman, speaking to you and, getting this kind of insight on how Sleepy Owl functions and, the customer experience and how you take care of it. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, Jude, and have a fantastic day.